Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here. If you can see if you can see my screen and hear my voice, just say a quick yes. So now we're all good to go right there. All right, lots of yeses. All right, good. So a real exciting call for you today, where even though we have some prior training on tips to get ranked and stuff like that, we were asked by a handful of you if we could not only go over the actual steps, but if we could actually show it kind of live, with the tools exactly what you'd want to do and whatnot. So on this call will kind of be a combo of those two, where the first half I'll be basically talking through the steps, and the second half I'll be showing off some of the actual tools and essentially what you'd have to do for each step to get ranked. So we'll do some stuff live and some stuff I have some saved tool results and stuff like that, just so we don't have to wait for it to basically do its job and whatnot. So without further ado, we can get the show on the road. So let me just make sure. Yep, so the recording's all that is set up right there, just in case anyone misses it. And without further ado, we can get the show on the road here. So once again, my name is Brian Kaz. I'm joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. And if by chance you hear a chainsaw in the background or anything like that, that's because right outside my house they're chopping down a few trees that are basically starting to lean over and are at major risk of falling on the house. So hopefully you won't hear a loud crash, and we'll just hear possibly some chainsaws every now and then, but hopefully it shouldn't be too bad there. I have an exciting view though, right out my window. I can see every time there's like 3 or 4 trees, and so far one has fallen. So fun stuff. Hopefully it won't hit the house. But with that, we can start this call here. So we'll go through again everything you need to do to get ranked, and on top of that, not only how to get ranked, but also show you how to quickly make a site or a blog as well, and what you should basically do to make sure that is basically optimized for you as well there. So again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is a few minutes ago as of right now, we'll host a live training and/or a Q&A call. So make sure that, if you're not sure on the time, it's again right now, and it's every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have another live call, and as always, usually the first part we have some actual training and such, and then the towards the end, we have time for Q&A and stuff like that. Now, the majority of the time, these calls will either be myself, Brian Kaz, Sean Casey, both of us at once, or occasionally a featured special guest if we think that their expertise would be of value to our members. But usually about, I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, it's just myself and/or Sean. I think last week we had a guest, but again, maybe 1 out of 10 times we'll have a guest on top of that. So lots of info. Make sure that you show up on these calls. If you're here or you're registered for the series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you'll click on training, and then under that tab you'll see towards the top will say Wednesday trainings. You'll click that, and then you'll see all the Wednesday trainings that we have. We have a lot of them, and they're basically in there by their title, with the most recent one being at the very top. So this one, you'll see either later today or tomorrow morning right there. So you want to use these calls as an opportunity to get even more training, ask strategy type questions, get feedback, or make suggestions on what else you'd like to see. And as a special note too, make sure to also check out our prior Webfire Wednesday calls, as well as our other trainings, as there's tons of info already there on a lot of what you guys are asking for more training and such on. So make sure that you check those out, or at least look at the titles of them to see if any of those are of interest to you. And very briefly, we'll go over the 3 Webfire member rules to success. Step one is follow the steps and the trainings that we have. If you don't get the results that you want, make absolutely sure to revisit the trainings and the steps that we have laid out, because we find that oftentimes the people that have issues tend to be missing at least a couple or a few of the steps that were laid out. So make sure that you don't make that mistake right there. Step two, or rule two, is don't give up. And this means seek help when needed, but don't get too dependent. What that means is, you know, if you fail the first time or the second time, that's perfectly fine and normal. Everyone fails a ton of times, usually, you know, before they hit it really, really big. And with that too, if you're trying to do something and you get stuck on a minor thing, obviously we're here to help you, but if you can do a quick Google search that solves your problem in like seconds, by all means do it. If you don't know what a certain word means, or you're not quite sure how to do something, usually a quick Google search will solve all that. But if you're legitimately stuck, by all means reach out, because that's what we're here to help you with. And last but not least, no whining or negative attitudes, because I find that's really the quickest way to fail. If you walk into anything with a negative attitude, chances are you'll never see anything positive in it, and you'll tend to give up faster, and you just tend to be, you know, harder to basically work with, and it's harder to get results that way. And you know, I've seen guys that try to rank for like 10 keywords, and if they rank for 9 out of 10, they complain about the 1 out of 10 that they didn't rank for. Likewise, I've seen guys that will get ranked for a few keywords, and then they might have a few that they might not, and they'll be excited that they got some results off that. And you can bet which ones tend to do better in the long run. And very briefly, I want to make a special announcement. We have a workshop coming up in London, UK. It will be in June, and we have it right now free for our members while the seating lasts. So it is obviously limited seating there, and you can check it out by going to this link that you see right here in red. It's getwebfire.com/London. Again, getwebfire.com/London. So it'll be a one-day workshop, basically geared towards how to grow your business and basically bring it to the next level. We'll be sharing traffic and lead methods and tricks, and you know, all sorts of the latest and greatest things with that. It is not like a workshop on, hey, how do you use this tool in Webfire, or how do you use that one. That's what we have the walkthroughs and the trainings inside of Webfire for now. So this is much more of basically you know, how to get leads and traffic and stuff in general. It's not specific to Webfire, but obviously Webfire would help with you know, several of those things as well. So if that's of interest to you, you can go to getwebfire.com/London, and again, that will be in June. And if you want the details on that and where it's at and the times and all that, just make sure to check out that link right there. And again, it is free, at least for right now, so make sure to jump up on that if you're in UK or near there, or can make that trip. And just in case, because I know there's probably a few of you asking, when will the next one be in my city or this town? Okay, so obviously we're, you know, we have an online business, so we don't have like a world tour where we go city to city, or you know, anything like that. That's why we have, again, you know, these Wednesday calls and all that. And we don't have anything officially planned, but like occasionally, if we're on a trip or we go to a certain place, we'll throw, you know, a workshop or like an event there. This is just one of those times as well. So we might later have one in the U.S., but you know, there's no like official plans on you know, others, even though chances are there will be some. Very quickly too, I have a few quick questions for you, and when you type in your, you know, answer, it would help us a ton if you typed in, like, for instance, if it's question 1, type in 1 and then basically your answer. If it's question 2, type 2 and then your answer. So question 1 is what do you like most about WebFire 3.0? It can be a particular tool, it can be trainings, it can be Facebook group, it can be anything that you want. So there's no right or wrong answer. So what do you like most about WebFire 3.0? So I'll give you like maybe 30 seconds to a minute to basically answer that. All right. And then with that, question 2 is what do you like the least about WebFire 3.0? So just for that, type in 2 followed by your answer. So obviously this will help give us feedback on stuff that we can improve, or new stuff that we can do, or stuff that we can make basically easier, or whatever it might be. We love to hear that feedback because we really like to improve stuff. So again, question 2 is what do you like the least about WebFire 3.0? And we've actually used a bunch of suggestions in the past to actually improve WebFire. In fact, we made a major change from version 1 and 2 to version 3, where we completely redid a bunch of stuff just so it was more compatible, essentially universally, and basically easier to use. And we're actually making another update. I don't know exactly when, but it'll be fairly soonish, where we're actually redoing some of the background tools in a way where we'll be it will basically help do some slightly faster searches, as well as less likely to give any errors or anything like that. There's not really a lot of errors now, but we're coming up with a way to make it even better. And we also saw that, like for instance, one example on one of the on the keyword tool we have, we saw there's a slight trend for a handful of sites out there. When they use a title tag, they use something called basically JavaScript to kind of insert a title tag automatically, which normally most computer languages or most computer tools would have trouble reading JavaScript. So if someone's using like a title tag, it might not show up right. So even though that's only a tiny fraction, of the results right there, we're actually doing an update on that. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But the quick version of that is it will basically be improving the main keyword tool inside of WebFire to make it like even more accurate, probably 100% of the time instead of like 98% of the time right there. So that's a pretty cool update that we're working on right there. But again, question 2 is what do you like least about WebFire 3.0? And again, this helps us basically improve it. All right, and last but not least, the final question, which is 3. So for your answer, type in 3 followed by your actual answer. And the question is, what's a feature or tool, whether it would be part of WebFire or not, so it doesn't have to be part, it could be something completely different, that you think would be super cool and useful if we were able to make it? So type in 3 followed by your answer with that, and I'll give you guys like a minute to basically answer it. And again, this helps us a lot with all that. All right. All right. All right. So again, if you need more time or anything, feel free to continue writing, but I'll get going with the rest of it now. So now we can move on to our training for this week on everything you need to do to create and rank a blog or site. Now keep in mind, a blog or site, basically the same thing. It's just a name, essentially. So the stuff you need to do to rank a blog is basically the exact same as a site. A blog post is like the same as a web page. So I use those words kind of interchangeably, but regardless, if you have any site at all, I don't care if it's a blog, a site, an e-commerce site, anything at all, this applies right here. So what I'll do on this call is we'll basically break it down into 3 parts. The first part is I'll give you the actual steps of everything that you need to do to create and rank a site. So I'll actually lay those out in slides for you. And then after that, I'll show you kind of a live demo of that, where a handful of stuff will be live and some will be like saved searches and stuff, where we'll go through essentially tools showing exactly how to do each part, because I know a lot of you like to see it visually instead of just laid out on slides, whereas I also know some like to see it laid out in slides and not visually. So we'll do both of them right there with examples and all that. And then after that, we'll have our Q&A. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask, regardless if it's related to this call or basically anything related to marketing at all. So moving on to the steps to create and rank a site. So the first step right here is do keyword research, and then pick a few keywords based upon that using the main keyword tool inside of WebFire. So again, we'll also do a demo of that right there, but you'll want to, whether you want to create a new site or you have an existing one, you want to make sure that you target the right keywords or the ones that A, have basically traffic, and B, are relevant to what you want your traffic or prospects to essentially be, and C, give you the greatest chance to basically rank for those terms right there. And the main keyword tool, which is just called Keyword Tool in WebFire, can help you with that. Step 2, if you want to make a new site, okay, so obviously if you have an existing site, you would skip this. If you want to make a new site, you can use the domain keyword tool to look for exact match domain names, because there's a trick where if you have an exact match domain name for a keyword and you have relevant content and title tags and all that, you have a very, very, very good chance of ranking for that keyword. In fact, I would say I don't think I've ever seen an example of someone that has followed all those steps and not ranked. So when I say very, very, very good chance, I really mean almost guaranteed. If you do that right there, especially with like a .com domain name and stuff. And again, I'll show off that tool in just a bit right here. And then again, I know some of you are basically worried like, well, what if I have an existing site and it's not an exact match? That's perfectly okay too. That's just a little added bonus right there. If you have a domain that's not that does not have the keyword or anything like that, that's perfectly fine. You just want to still make sure, which we'll talk about in a bit, having basically title tags match and all that right there, which again we'll cover in just a bit right here. Step 3 is to then create a site or blog if you don't have one yet. And if you're looking for a super easy way, Blogger.com allows you to make sites and host them for free. Now, if you use your own domain name, I think they charge you, I think it's like $10 a year, something like that. Usually most domain names like a .com or .net, usually those will run anywhere from usually $8 to $15 a year, depending on where you buy it from, and I think Blogger has it for $10 a year. So still a very good deal right there. And again, they host all that for free too. Super easy, and I can show you in a bit how easy it is to actually make a site on that. I mean, literally, you can have one made in like a minute or two. Then you want to use the WebFire plugin when available. So like if you use WordPress, for instance, we have a special WordPress plugin for you there. If you use like a non-WordPress site and you just have like an HTML site, we have a tool called SEO Inferno, which can basically help make all those changes for you as well right there. Then you want to target the keyword or keywords as the titles of your web pages and or blog posts. So this means like if your keyword is how to do CPR on infants, okay, you'd want to make sure that the title, of your web page or blog post was basically like that, like how to do CPR on infants, if that was your keyword. Then you want to use the keywords at least a couple of times in the blog post or page. So sometimes I see guys that want to rank for a keyword, then they never use that in the content, which is kind of dumb because it's like saying, hey, I want to rank for, cupcakes, but I only sell cookies. It's like, okay, why the hell should Google rank you for cupcakes if you only sell cookies? People that are looking for cupcakes would probably be upset if they landed on a cookie page. So keep that in mind there too. Step 4 is run the website analysis tool and make sure that all of the other SEO bits are basically optimized. So the website analysis tool will tell you what's good and what's basically bad. You want to usually be at about 80% for your target keyword in terms of the optimization score, and we'll show you an example of that in just a bit right there. If you're a bit below that, it's not the end of the world or anything like that, but if you're like 30%, that means you have a decent ways to basically go there. And this can include things like the title tags, description tags, headers, image alt tags, schemas, sitemaps, and so forth, all of which you can easily optimize with Webfire. Probably the most important ones are like basically the title tags and the description tags, because that's basically like, think of it like the title of a book. If you're at a library or at a bookstore and you're looking for books on, let's say, let's say it's you want a cookbook on how to cook steak, so different steak recipes and stuff. If there's a book that's clearly titled, steak recipes or recipes for steak, that would probably draw your attention first because you know that they're clearly what? They're about steaks and their recipes on them, they're exactly what you want. Whereas if there's a title that's like, Brian's Good Kitchen Skills, it might have the best steak recipes possible in it, but the title, it's somewhat close to it, talks about food or talks about kitchen stuff, but it's not really clear on what the entire book might be about there. And I see oftentimes guys make this mistake. As easy as it sounds, I'd say at least half the people I've seen, if not more more like 3/4, make this mistake right here, where they're trying to target title tags and description tags that really have nothing to do with what they're trying to rank for or what their site's on. In fact, probably the biggest culprit is I've seen a lot of guys that have like basically a title tag of like home page, which would be like, imagine if you went to a bookstore and the books were all basically titled with title. You'd probably get pretty pissed at that. And if you look at the description on the back of the books, if they all just said description or home, you'd probably toss that book aside pretty quickly, even though it might have some of the best info in it possible. You probably wouldn't even bother, with that. Step 5 is use the competition backlink tool to spy on your competition, or check out the backlink info on the website analysis tool to get an idea of the median number of backlinks. So prior to this, you'll have your site up, you'll have your site optimized, all is good right there. You have your content on it that uses some key keywords. So that by itself usually will get you ranked in a lot of cases. But if you want to give yourself a little extra, advantage, you can get some additional backlinks, and you can see where your competition gets its backlinks from. And you can also see on the first page of Google, for instance, you can see what is the median amount of backlinks. Now, I'm sure some of you know this, but just in case, I wanted to clarify what median means, because I know there's some of you that probably don't know, or probably are making the mistake that you think that that's basically the average. It is not. So the reason why an average number of backlinks can be deceiving is, let's say you have 10 sites, okay? And let's say most of those sites have 0 to 10 backlinks, okay? But let's say one of those sites on page 1 has 10,000 backlinks. If you did the average amount of backlinks, it would say every site has 1,000 backlinks. And you know, you'd say, whoa, how can I ever, you know, compete if the average guy has 1,000? Well, the guy that has 10,000 pushes up the average of everyone else. That's why you want to focus on the median, which is basically, you know, what guy is kind of in the middle, you know, right there, and that, and you know, usually if you have like, you know, 10 sites and one has 10,000, and the rest mostly have like, you know, let's say one has like 0, one has 2, and then a bunch of them have like 10. The median would then be basically, you know, around the 10 right there. So it'd be basically, you know, in the middle of the outliers right there, and that gives you a better idea of how hard or easy it might be. And in a lot of cases, it's a lot easier than you might think right there. So because most sites don't have necessarily a ton of backlinks for most of the keywords that you would try to rank for. I mean, they might range from, you know, 0 up to like 10 or 20. So that's not too hard to really compete with. Then you can get some additional backlinks through either articles, videos, guest blog posts, posts on forums, or Q&A sites, and so forth, using Webfire's lead and content tool. So you can find other places to basically post on and such. And what's cool with that is tools like that do one of two things. One, they help you get additional backlinks to your site, which can also get you ranked faster and higher, but they can also drive additional traffic to you as well, which is a big thing. So it's kind of a great way where, yeah, it has the added bonus where it can help you rank more, but it can also drive additional traffic your way, because you have these links up on basically other relevant sites, and make sure that, again, they're relevant sites, because I would rather have one link from one relevant site than 1,000 links from, like, you know, 1,000 completely irrelevant sites. You know, a decade ago, that wasn't really the case in terms of ranking. You know, you could have lots of links from random places and sometimes get ranked real well, but especially in the past while, again, Google's gotten smarter, you know, with that, and you know, you absolutely need to make sure that, again, they're relevant links when possible right there. And as a side note too, you can also apply the same process to just ranking articles, videos, guest blog posts, and so forth. So it's not like you need to make like a site, whether it's new or an existing site. You can do the exact same process on just an article or on just a video. In fact, we have a video maker tool inside of Webfire where you can either use your existing videos or you can make ones and have it be automatically optimized to help rank the video both on YouTube as well as on Google. You can also do guest blog posts. We have a guest blog post finder tool built into Webfire where you can find places where you can leave a guest blog post, and you can get those ranked too. The main thing in each case is, you know, target the proper keywords and use those in the titles, you know, as much as possible there. So if you target a new keyword for each blog post or each web page, it will basically give you the greatest chance of actually ranking well. If you want a goal, you can shoot for one post or one web page or, you know, one blog post a week. Or if that's too much for you, you can shoot for one new post a month. Whatever goal is reasonable for you. So don't, I mean, if you want to be ambitious and say you want to write one new blog post a day, great. Awesome. But try to pick a goal that you feel you can stick to. I think a reasonable goal is like one post a week. Keep in mind, you know, you can like write up like basically an article or a blog post probably within like a half hour, maybe like an hour tops, and then making sure that the, you know, keywords in the title and all that really isn't all that tough. Especially if you use like a blog, or if, you know, you use our plugins, because usually the keyword that you use in the blog post will automatically be in the title tag and all that right there. So don't overthink that stuff too much. And the more keywords you go for, especially ones that give you the biggest opportunities to rank, the more likely you are to get several top rankings or more. That means, and more quickly. That means don't put all your eggs in one basket. If your only goal is to rank for a single keyword, you live and die by that keyword. And you also leave out a lot of additional words that might bring a ton of traffic. Whereas if you shoot for like 5, right off the bat there, you give yourself a much greater chance of at least getting a couple to rank well there, and you can walk away a winner. Lastly, be sure to track your rankings using the rank tracker inside a Webfire. So we can actually track your rankings, and we track that every day, so you can be alerted as you move up or down right there. And usually to get ranked, I mean, in some cases it can happen very quickly. If it's a new site, sometimes it can take a little longer. So I'd say usually wait like a week or so to really see what basically the bigger picture looks like there. And then I'm sure there's a handful of you saying, well, can it really be that easy? And it sounds relatively easy because it actually is. And don't be worried if you don't have 100% of everything perfect. You don't have to have everything perfect. Even I don't have, like, a lot of stuff that I rank for and do, I don't have it all 100% optimized, okay? I know there's stuff that I should change, but it's like oftentimes you don't have to do everything to get it to basically rank. It's think of it a lot like, let's say you're in a race, okay? And let's say you're you're an Olympic runner, okay? You can go full-fledged, run as fast as you possibly can, and probably if you're an Olympic runner, you could probably beat almost anyone. But at the same time, if your competition is up against a bunch of kids that are like 5, you probably don't need to run at basically 100% to win the race. You could probably do half the stuff and still easily win. You could probably do a third of the stuff and still easily win in that case right there. So don't feel like you have to put in all the work to do 100% of everything. Because even just a title tag and a description tag matching the keyword that you're trying to rank for, especially if the keyword is one that you have a good chance to rank for, and using that keyword in the actual content can often get results all by itself. So even just doing the keyword research and using that keyword in the title of your blog post can usually get you ranked. Whereas the other stuff that we basically laid out is additional stuff that you can do to greatly increase your chances of ranking even more. But don't overthink that or overwork yourself at the same time. Now, this last bit is important too, because Google also looks at how long someone stays on your site or how often they might click through to get to your site. So like if you're like number 3 on page 1 and Google sees that you get more clicks than number 1 or 2, they're going to move you up because they see that people basically think your site is more relevant to whatever that might be. So you want to make sure that your content is relevant to what they'd want, with no tricks or anything like that, to gain even more rankings over time and not lose them. So that really means that anything you're trying to rank for, make sure it's completely relevant and useful to the searcher. Sounds like common sense, but you'd be shocked at the number of people that don't do this. So if your content is relevant and useful, that's probably the easiest and greatest way to get better rankings and more traffic. So what I'll do right here is I'll just pause the screen for a second as I open up Webfire and kind of go through the examples that I just talked about. All right. All right. So right here we are inside WebFire 3.0, and the first step that I laid out was keyword research. And to do that, you click on SEO and keywords, which is right here. Then you go down to keyword tool right here. And there's a few things that you can do right here. So if you have no idea what keywords you want to basically rank for and you don't know the niche well, you could type in one keyword or phrase. Like in this case, I said how to do CPR. And in that case, if you click this first box right here, it will find 50 related keywords. Or if you click this box right here, you can search a smaller amount of keywords at a time. So you could separate them by a comma, and you could type in like 3 or 4 or 5 or 20 or whatever you want. Keywords yourself right there. So that obviously would be a faster search if you have less keywords you want to search for. Otherwise, searching for 50 additional keywords, that can take like several minutes or so. You can also pick the location that you basically want it to search from and the search engine and all that. The default would be the US, but you could have it be anywhere you want. And that tends to be more of what people see on a global basis too. Then another option, which is a new feature basically as of like a few months back that I just want to point out. So sometimes if you find 50 related keywords, depending upon what exactly your niche is or what your goal is, several of those keywords you might not want to even use. Like, for instance, if I say how to do CPR, I see there's a bunch of related keywords, but I might say, hey, I don't really want to rank for CPR mannequins because, I might not be selling those. So in that case, what you can do instead is if you click Start Custom instead of Start, it will show all the keywords first, and then you can check off the ones that you want to pull additional info on. Because otherwise the search will be much, much longer, whereas if you only want to search for like half the keywords, they'll be basically twice as fast. Then it will do the search, and again, this can take several minutes for a full big search like this. And for a phrase like this, there's not a lot of sites that are competing very well on an SEO point of view, probably because a lot of the sites that give lots of info on this are just looking to get info out there and aren't necessarily looking to rank and sell for a bunch of stuff. So in a keyword like this, you see there's a bunch that are super easy to rank for, a handful that are more hard, whereas I have another search right here for massage chair. And obviously that is one where people are more likely to try to rank for stuff because there's, they might be selling massage chairs. In cases like that, you'll see a lot more keywords that might be harder to rank for, but still tons are super easy to go for right there. But what you want to do in this case is, in either case, regardless of what the keyword is, you want to pick, I'd say, like 3 to 5 keywords to start with that you think are relevant to you and have a decent amount of searches and appear easy to basically rank for. So anything in green is basically good. If there's a 0 here under the title matches, or if it says 100 in the score, that basically means it's like super easy to rank for if you target it right. Like for instance, let's just like if we go through here, we can see all the different search results and stuff like that. Like we might do, you see CPR for babies. That's not bad. Close to 1,000 exact searches a month. Not a lot of people are trying to truly compete over that, and it's probably a pretty important topic. Let's see, steps to CPR has okay amount of searches. Adult CPR 2,500. Here's one almost 10,000. Here's some that are or here's one. Infant CPR over 12,000 right there. So again, just pick a handful of those that have a decent amount of searches, line up for what you're trying to basically rank for, or the goal of your site. And in the case of like let's say you do a search for diamonds, okay? Like you want to rank for essentially diamonds. It's not just the search volume that matters, it's the type of keyword. So if there's a keyword like 2-carat diamond ring, okay, there might not be a lot of searches for that, but a 2-carat diamond ring is very expensive, at least for a good one, and could be worth a lot of money. So take that into consideration too. There's probably not as much of that in like CPR, but especially when it comes to you know, a lot of other niches and products and stuff where people are buying stuff. You know, if there's a keyword where they're more likely to buy higher end stuff, you know, make sure to look out for those as well right there. Now, if you don't have a site yet, the next step that you want to do is you want to use the domain keyword tool. Now, you can pick any kind of domain you want, including like .co.uk and stuff like that. You know, the top 3 are .com, .net, and .org. .com is my favorite one because I tend to see there's a little bit of like an SEO preference there. .org would probably be, you know, close to like, you know, a second there, but you know, what I don't like, I'm not a fan of like the .infos and stuff like that. I know oftentimes there's, you know, web hosts and stuff that give like cheap deals on info domains, but I think Google and those guys know that those are very cheap, and they tend to like basically downplay your business then. So they think, oh, well, these guys didn't even want to spend the 10 bucks to get a normal domain versus $1 on a .info. Let's probably not take them terribly seriously. That's my hunch on that, and that's what I basically have seen a bit of. It's not to say you can't rank, you know, on the rest, but I try to give myself every bit, you know, of an advantage that I can. Right here, the default will have this checked off, and it will allow essentially dashes. I have a preference towards domains without dashes. So if the keyword was how to rank, if it was howtorank.com itself, that'd be very good. If it was how-to-rank.com, you know, that's not bad, especially if it's like a very good keyword, but I prefer them a little bit without the dashes. But if there's a very good keyword with dashes, I would still take that. But for this first example, I did not include any dashes. And we see lots of available exact domain names right now that are on register, like right here, cprprocedure.com, 5,500 searches a month, completely open. CPR for infants.com, almost 2,000 searches a month right there, completely open. CPR for adults, 1,000. I mean, tons and tons and tons of good ones that if you grabbed any of these, you could, you know, if you followed through what we said, you could get ranked and get a decent amount of traffic there for CPR. And again, you can apply this to any niche. This is just the first thing that popped in my head. That and the massage chair, so which I also have an example of over here as well. And in this case, I allowed the dashes here, and you see a bunch of different massage chair keywords and stuff like reclinermassagechair.com and a whole bunch of different ones right there. And that's one where people are likely to obviously be looking to buy. Or here's one like body massager chair. All those right there would be very, very good ones where people are more likely to basically buy. And, you know, obviously that'd be worth probably a bit more than the CPR one. Then after you pick a domain, the next step is, if you don't have a site, you'd want to make one. So if, you know, there's lots of web hosts that have like, you know, WordPress makers, and I know a lot of you use WordPress and do really well with that, and that's perfectly fine and great. You know, if you're brand new and you're scared of WordPress, I promise you it's not hard, but if you're scared of WordPress, or you're scared of basically doing a normal HTML site or anything like that, one of the easiest things you can do is Blogger. So blogger.com. If you go to blogger.com, it'll ask you to sign up. It's free. It's owned by Google. And when you sign up, I won't go through the registration process because obviously you guys are smart enough to know what your name is and your email and make your own passwords, or at least I would hope so. And what you'd want to do is one of the first things that it will do will ask you to create a new blog. If you have a bunch of blogs there, you'll just have to click right here on the top left and drag down to where it says create new blog. But if it's your first time through, I think the only option they have is like a button that says create blog, whereas if you make a bunch of sites, like I have some, you'll have to either pick which site or go to create new, and you'll see a screen like this right here. Well, this will create a new blog for you. We'll ask for a title, and we want the title to be related to what we're trying to rank for. So let's say this site is all about CPPR. Okay, so I could have it be how to do CPR dash the easy way. So what you want to do with that is you want to make sure the keyword that you're trying to rank for is in the title, but you also want to make sure, if you can, have any additional kind of keywords that will make you stand out a bit more. That they'll be more likely to get clicked through. So if people see, hey, this is the easy way on how to do CPR, that might be more likely to click through on that. But just make sure that you at least contain the keyword that you're trying to basically rank for. Then if you use your own domain name, or you buy one through here for $10 a month, you don't have to worry about this next part as much. But if you want to use a free site, they allow you to use a free subdomain. Let's just see, how to do CPR.blogspot.com. Let's see if that's available. I figured that probably wouldn't be. Let's say all about CPR. There. Not a big deal what's what there. And then you just pick any design that you want. Again, don't overthink that. We'll stick with that one anyway. Then we just click Create Blog. And you have your site. And it will ask you if you want to get like your own domain for it, which you certainly could right here, but for the sake of this, we'll just skip that part. But obviously, if you want to have your own domain, you would want to type in the domain that you just found in the prior step. Then you want to click on New Post. And this is where you'd want to make sure, like for instance, on the title right here, every single blog post you do would act as like a separate web page, so you can try to target a different keyword. So let's say one of the keywords you want to target was CPR for infants. Okay, so we would want to make sure to use that keyword here. We'll say CPR for infants, and then maybe the easiest and safest way to perform CPR on infants. Just make sure that you contain the keyword as well as some additional words that would be more likely to get people to click through to you versus the competition. So you have like a little bit of copyright there. We just use like common sense right there. Then when you write your blog post right here, make sure that you use the keyword at least like once or twice. Don't overdo it where like every line uses the keyword. Use common sense so it reads and flows well. Then of course you can insert links, you can insert pictures, you can insert videos, you can do all sorts of stuff right there. You can make bullet points. Basically, the easier you have it to read, the better. I'm a big fan of bullet points because people like to browse quickly, and when they, if you have like 10 pages of content that isn't really broken up by subtitles or bullet points or anything like that, it's kind of scary and people tend to skip you. So the easier you make it to read, the better. And that's basically all you have to really do. After that, you just click publish and you'd be done then. So that'd be, again, super easy. And of course, there's lots of like additional things that you can play with. Like there's, if you want to get really fancy, there's extra things there. You don't have to worry too much about that. But again, super easy. You can change graphics and images, all that stuff right there. And then after you do that, the only thing that you'd want to then do is you want to go back and run basically a website analysis on that. We also have two. Well, here I'll show that first. So in this case, because we just made that site, we don't have any content on it, so it might look odd. But in this case, I have a prior example here of a roofing business where I basically would type in the domain in question, followed by a keyword that I'm trying to get it to rank for, so the main keyword. And for every blog post or every web page that you have on your website, you can do a new website analysis. So like if you have 10 blog posts, you would paste in the exact URL of that specific blog post to see how well that page or that post is basically optimized to rank for the keyword you're trying to rank for. Now, it'll tell you here if you have a good or bad chance of ranking for that keyword. And then it will say, hey, look, you don't have that keyword in your title. So in this case, if you had like an HTML site, you could click here and it would help you fix that. If you have a Blogger site or WordPress site, if you have the plugin installed on WordPress, or if you're using Blogger, if you make sure that the keyword is in the title of your blog post that we just showed you, it should automatically show up in the title tag as well right there. But if you're not sure on any of that, just click here and it will walk you through all that stuff right there. The most important are to have it in the title tag and the description tag. So always make sure those are probably the two most important right there. And basically, don't overthink this stuff right there. If there's, you don't have to have everything be green here, but if you shoot for having like, at least the title tag and the description tag, that's a very good start. And that alone will give you a very good chance of ranking. If you want to get like fancier, you can improve all these things right here. But don't overthink that. I don't want to give you too much where you feel like overwhelmed, because again, title tag and description are the two things that you want to focus on with that. And then again, if you want to fix any of it, you just click fix, and it just basically take it to the SEO configuration tool, which you can also get to on the left side right here. You don't have to go through this tool. You can also just click here and go down to the SEO configuration tool. Let's just go through here so I can leave that one up as an example in case people have questions on that. SEO configuration. And basically, if you have a WordPress site, it will ask you to install a plugin. And if you don't have a WordPress site, you basically have an HTML, and you could launch that, and we'll kind of walk you through how to do all that right there. But again, very, very easy. But again, the super easiest way, honestly, is if you're brand new, just make sure, again, that you have the keyword in the title of your site and the title of your blog post, and Blogger by itself will automatically have the keyword of your blog post title as the title tag of that page right there. So you don't even have to really worry about a lot of stuff. And yeah, if you want to get fancy, you can play around with like a bunch of other stuff here. But again, don't worry too much about any of that. But if you want to go around and change the theme or the layout or anything like that, you certainly can right there. But again, don't overthink that too much. So I just want to show you the basics of that right there. And that's pretty much like the basics of that right there. If you do that alone, you have a very good chance of being ranked for almost anything that you can essentially think of right there. Then after that, if you wait, like I'd say, use the rank tracker tool, which is right here. It's just called rank. Use that. You can basically enter your site, and the keywords will track your rankings every day. I'd say give it a week to basically start. Sometimes new sites, they don't really rank instantly because Google has to check you out. If you want to speed it up, just use the submit your site right here. And I mean, these are you oftentimes don't even have to use this, but this kind of helps it a bit too. All you do is basically type in the name of your site and the URL. Don't even worry about this next part right here. Then you just click submit your site. And if you have a new blog post or a new web page, have it be the URL specifically of that exact page or blog post. And that kind of that can speed up essentially the process of Google seeing you. Once you have like an existing site, and if it's you know, if you update it on a fairly normal basis, you don't have to do this as much. But if you're brand new, this can help right here, and then you should have a decent chance of ranking. If you find after like a week or so, one of the quickest things that you can do is obviously use the rank tracker to see if you're ranked. The other thing that you can do as well is if you go to Google itself, wait like a week, go to Google itself, and if you don't see that you're ranking, type in your URL itself. Like if your site is CPR.com, type in CPR.com and put it in quotes. Do a search and see if you get any results showing up. If you don't, it means Google hasn't indexed you yet, which means they haven't found you yet. So that means just wait a little bit longer. If you want to speed that process up even more, if you get a handful of backlinks to it, that can speed it up a great amount right there. And if you get ranked right up the bat like that, great. If not, you can get some additional backlinks to increase your chances even more. And a few of the great ways of doing that are you can use any of the lead tools or content tools right here. Like you can instantly create a video right here and have links back to your blog or to your site. That can get you. It's basically like a triple whammy. You have a chance of ranking on Google for the video itself. You have a chance of ranking on YouTube, and you have a chance of boosting your old site's ranking as well. You can also create and distribute content across the web and link back to your site as well. That's another great way right there to get some good backlinks. You can also get some leads. You can find places that you can leave posts, comments, and replies on, like the real-time lead finder or the rank lead finder. And you can find lots of places where people are asking questions that might be related to what you talk about on your site, and you can answer them or refer them to a post on your site that specifically would help them with that. And the key anytime you do a post is make sure it's relevant and helpful to what the person's asking. You can also do guest blog posting. I know there was a person that asked on that. And a guest blog post is basically where you do basically a blog post, but it goes on another person's blog. The advantage is they get free content, and you get free traffic, publicity, and a backlink to your site or your main blog or whatever you might have there. So it can be a win-win. And we have a tool. I actually have, since a person just asked that, I have a tool. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I have a saved search on that. Yep, here's the guest blogger tool. In this case, I searched for weight loss. If your topic was on weight loss, it finds all these places here that accept guest blog posts that appear to be related to weight loss. Now, you want to either look at ones that have a low Alexa ranking, and by low I mean the lower the number, the better the site is. So if it has a score of like 1,000, that means it's in the top 1,000 sites. If it has a score of like 1,000,000, that means it's only in the top 1,000,000 sites, so not as good. We also have a value right there where the higher the value, the more likely there is to be a lot of traffic there, and there is to be and that is to be worth a lot more to you right there. So you can kind of scroll through and skip the ones that aren't worth much, focus on the ones that are worth more. Make sure again that they're relevant. They should be. This is a pretty good job of trying to narrow it down to ones only in your niche or your keywords. And you can either click here to pull up essentially the email addresses, and then click here to contact them through Gmail or whatever email service you use. It can automatically, in most cases, email them through the software itself, or you can just click any of these links right here, and it goes straight to the submission process for you right there. And that's a great way where you can give an example article, and if they like it, you can give them a unique one. We even have an article spinner, so you can turn like one article into dozens or hundreds of copies that read really, really, really well. So you don't have to take a ton of time to get like a ton of guest blog posts right there. Then of course you can also, again, if you want to look for additional places where you can possibly get backlinks to, you can type in your competition on the backlink keyword tool, which is just under competition, and then backlinks. and you can type in a keyword and a site if you want to search on, and it'll tell you where that site gets its top traffic from, and you can contact all those places there. And you can also see where the top guys on page 1 of Google are getting their traffic from as well, and you can click show backlinks right here, and it will show where they get their backlinks from as well right there. And you can, of course, contact all those sources or the competition right here. And again, it's a great way to see where the traffic is coming from and how you can get, again, extra exposure and stuff there as well. So yeah, so that's basically, in a nutshell, everything that you'd have to do to quickly and easily get ranked. But again, the first step is always the keyword research. That's probably the most important. And then the second most is targeting the keyword in your title and the description and on the site a bit, or at least in the title and on the site. That will go a very long ways, you know, right there. And again, don't overthink that. Don't think you have to do 100% of everything, but if you start with just that, you'll have a very good chance of ranking. So with that, I'm just going to pause the screen as I go back to the slides. All right, and with that, guys, if you have any other questions related to SEO or basically marketing, you know, in general, or anything, regardless if I went over it or not, feel free to ask now, and then we'll have the cash giveaway right after that. And with that, guys, to take part in the cash giveaway, all you have to do is make sure that you're a part of our Facebook group, which is free to join. If not, go right there, ask to join, and you'll be accepted, you know, within like a minute or two most of the time. But if you go to getwebfire.com/FB group, that will forward to the Facebook group. And Sean, make sure that you have a post up there. Let me know when.
Dude, I'm so far ahead of you. Okay. It's like I'm in the south and you're in the north. I mean, done an hour ago. I mean, come on, I'm right on the ball.
Yeah, I know. Usually we have
a simple job. I was able to get it done today.
Usually we have Sharon post that, but she's off for part of the day here. So yeah. So I guess where you see Sean's post up, it will ask what you thought of today's call. If you leave a comment on that post right there, so make sure you try to leave a comment on that post versus like outside that post. Makes it way you know, easier to basically count all that. We'll pick a random winner. And we'll give them $100 via PayPal today. So just leave a comment right there. And just as another quick side note too, I know I made the announcement at the start of the call, but just in case you missed that, we do have an event in London in June, and to register for free, right now we have that for free for a short time. Go to getwebfire.com/London. You can check out that page. It'll give you all the info that you need right there. And again, that's completely free for you guys right here. So just make sure you go to getwebfire.com/London. And with that, Sean, are there any other questions and stuff that you saw before we give the cash away? I'll pop up the questions on my end too. I know you've been looking at them.
Okay, so Facebook group, right? You're looking right at it. So just go and ask to join. And as fast as you guys ask to join, I'll get you approved. So somebody asked, how do you set up an anonymous blog? And I don't know what you mean by that, Tennyson. You mean a blog where you go say anything you want to say without anybody knowing it's you?
You just wouldn't have yourself as the author.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't overthink that. And and a side up, so Stephen said here, how can you get the rankings to update in WebFire? Well, it will check each day. You can also hit refresh on the rank tracker, but if you've only waited like a few days or a week, if it's a brand new site, you might have to wait like a little bit more, and make sure you use like the site submitter and stuff first, and make sure that the keywords that you're basically tracking are the ones that you have the easier chance to actually rank for. Like if you have a post and you're trying to see if you rank for like a keyword like diet and it's not really optimized for that, it won't, you'll have a lot less of a chance to actually rank there. Okay. And guys, keep in mind, I specified this on the call, but I knew that a couple people would be worried. When I mentioned the exact match domain trick, that's just a trick. So if you have a different domain, that's perfectly fine. So don't overthink that part right there. Okay. So so Blogger allows you to have free subdomains. So that's like, keyword.blogspot.com would be a subdomain, where keyword would be the subdomain. If you want your own domain name through them, I think they charge like $10 a year. That would be like keyword.com. But either way, they can make the blogs for free and they host it for free too. Okay. Okay. All right, so I see there's a lot of questions here that we've already answered, so I'm just trying to find if there's any new ones we haven't. And Sean, again, feel free to shout out any that you see. I see there's a lot of questions that were asked while I was talking that I basically addressed. So just want to see if there's anything new. Okay, will Blogger sites rank faster than a hosted site? Don't overthink that. There's not really a yes or no. I mean, a Blogger site is basically easier for someone new to make. I think. I mean, there's some guys that think it's really easy to make a WordPress site. I don't think it's that hard either. But if you're overwhelmed, Blogger is basically an easier option. But it's not necessarily like one is way better or way worse than another. So don't overthink that. All right, Bill asked if I can show him how to use the article spinner. Super easy, Bill. In fact, if you click on the article spinner tool, it'll actually walk you through that. And what it essentially does, every time you write a sentence, it'll basically prompt you to write like two versions of that. And it will also then, it can go through and change up some words and stuff too, but it's super easy. That's kind of like, it has a walkthrough on that as well. But if you get stuck or lost, let us know. But again, that's probably one of the easier tools there. All right, Terry said, is there a recommended maximum length for a blog? I assume you mean a blog post. As far as like how many words, I'd say like you don't want it to be. In most cases, there's always exceptions. So don't. This isn't like set in stone. But I'd say again, like about a page, but try not to make it like pure paragraphs and like nothing else. I mean, people like to see like bullet points. They like to see headlines, stuff like that. But I'd say 500 to 800 words is an okay range right there. But I mean, don't be worried if you have one that's a bit less or one that's like 1,000 words or anything like that. Because again, the main thing is have it be relevant to what the searcher would want to search for the keyword, or would want to find for the keyword that you're trying to rank for. Okay. All right. All right. All right, so Jeff asks here, he says he has an e-com site, which stands for e-commerce, and he's been told to add pages to a site instead of a blog to rank for different keywords. Is this true? And if so, can I just make different sales pages that look the same as my homepage but with different keywords? So you want to be a bit careful of that. So what he's basically saying is, hey, can I make like 1,000 cloned pages and just change the title of each one? Google tends to see that, and they tend to be smarter than that. There's always exceptions there, but like what you want to do instead is like let's say you, and then I don't know what kind of site you have. You just said an e-commerce site. Let's say you have an e-commerce site and you sell a bunch of dog stuff. Okay, and let's say you sell 10 different kinds of dog coffee mugs. So it's a coffee mug with a picture of a dog on it. If you have like one that's a Siberian Husky, one that's a pug, one that's a wiener dog, one that's, I don't know, whatever other dogs are basically out there, you'd want to have like for every mug that you have, you could have like a separate page that has like a picture of that mug and has a title like Siberian Husky coffee mug or pug coffee mug or funny pug coffee mug or something like that, where it gives you additional chances of basically ranking. And then if you have basically the image alt tag used on any images that you use, you have a good chance of ranking those actual graphics as well right there. But on top of that too, like if you want to have like separate pages or blog or content pages or anything like that, you certainly can. Like let's say you sell just going with the dog topic, let's say you sell a shock collar, okay? And let's say you want to have a post that basically talks about the different kinds of shock collars. Some might be, an invisible fence. Some might be a little device that shocks when they go outside of a radius where you don't need to put down a fence anywhere. You can talk about what basically the differences are, and you can try to catch, people searching for stuff like, what is the difference between this kind versus that kind? So you're getting ranked for stuff that can be helpful, and they can, your site can get ranked, and they can happen across your site and happen across your suggestions. But on that same note too, you don't necessarily have to have that be all on your site. You could create videos on that and have the videos be optimized and get those ranked, and then refer guys back to your site if they want to buy the recommendations there. Okay. All right, so Jason had a question here on mobile optimized sites. He basically, in a nutshell said, if something says that my site is not optimized for mobile and it shows up on my phone just fine, basically, is that fine? So there's two key things right there. One, in some cases, you can have a site that's not really optimized for mobile show up just fine on a mobile phone and look just fine. But there's ways where there's like special code where you can change what your site looks like on a mobile phone versus like a desktop. And it's probably looking at, my guess is what you looked at, essentially said, hey, it doesn't look like there's essentially a difference, but as long as you show up fine, you're probably okay there. But keep in mind too, there's many different kinds of phones, so it might look fine on your phone, but it might not look fine on another phone. So that's one thing to keep in mind there. But the main thing there is like, don't overthink that. But if you have a site that's like huge and it looks very bad on a mobile phone and it's very hard to navigate, and it's not optimized, chances are you won't rank from a mobile phone, even though you might rank on the desktop side. And in the future, my hunch is that Google is more likely to not only change the mobile rankings, which they're basically doing now, but they're likely to change the desktop rankings based upon if your site is mobile friendly as well, because more and more people are basically going on the mobile side, because mobile doesn't just mean phone, it could be like a tablet too. So just keep that in mind right there. And that's one thing too. I actually talked to our coding team on having like a cooler way to basically check that, and we're looking at possibly building something into the website, analysis tool to actually help with that too. So we'll have a future update on that there. All right, Steve says, what are some good sites to do posts on to get backlinks? Well, if you use any of our lead tools, you can get a lot of backlinks. Just post up on basically sources. You can create videos. You can do guest blog posts. Basically, anything mentioned is perfectly fine right there. Yep, in the Facebook group, the link is just right up on the screen right there. Any advice on private label research sites that sell products? I mean, there's a lot of people that sell private label rights and stuff. If you just do a Google search for that, you'll find a ton. But it's harder to find like high quality ones. And also keep in mind, if like 1,000 people have the exact same site, if you're looking to have like a private label site, which is basically like a site that you have the rights to, or basically an article that you might have the rights to, if everyone has the exact same copy, it's harder to rank for those unless you change those up at least a bit there. And yes, the event is on a weekend. It's a one-day event. And is it a Saturday, Sean?
It's a Saturday. First Saturday in June.
All right.
Should be June 3rd, but I think I get it wrong every once in a while. So,
yeah,
don't count on it being the 3rd, but it is the first Saturday in June.
All right, so yeah, don't overthink. So there's a person here basically asking again if they want to be, anonymous. Don't overthink that. You can create a blog and you can name the author anything you want. So if you want to say you're Sally Susan, you can be Sally Susan, and if you want to be Tom, Marty, you can be Tom Marty. But yeah, so I mean, don't overthink that right there. All right. Wright asked here if there's any training on Facebook advertising. We actually do a lot of Facebook ads too and stuff, and that could be like a whole entirely new call by itself, basically. But yeah, obviously any traffic that you can get is good traffic. And as a side note too, inside of Webfire under social, there's a social poster, which can help you get traffic from Facebook and Twitter and such too. So make sure to check out that as well, because it can put basically your posting on autopilot right there. But obviously, even Facebook ads itself, are another great way to get traffic and such. And we can see about possibly having a future call on that. All right. So this person asks here if they have another SEO plugin, should they use the Webfire one instead, or a different SEO plugin? If you have like a WordPress site, as long as you have a basic SEO plugin that make sure to optimize the title tags and the description tags and all that, you're perfectly fine. That's not a huge deal which one you use there. All right, this person said, what are your thoughts on having a number after a keyword in a domain like keyword2.com? I've never seen ones like that rank terribly well, so I would try to shoot for an exact match domain without a number, because that might look odd. I think Google tends to be pretty smart about people trying to game stuff on that, and oftentimes weird numbers like that could be used by spam sites and such too. That's not to say you can't, but yeah. All right, so Ray says that he's trying to rank a technical school that needs people to come to an open house in a month. So here is the thing, right? So you can definitely rank a technical school. Like if you're trying to rank for people on like like a local area, it wouldn't be hard to rank for technical school type terms on like a local basis. That's all fine. But you probably won't get guys searching for hey, is there an open house next month? That would probably be harder to get a lot of guys there. That might be one where you certainly could get some. That's one where the social media side could be a good investment of your time right there. Again, there's the social media tools. I would also too, I would reach out to maybe some of the local news places. That's actually a great way. You can easily reach out to those guys. Just check their sites, reach out to them, and I wouldn't be shocked if at least one or two of those places ran a story, on your school and your open house, and boom, you have some free publicity right there. All right, and Tennyson says on the anonymous then, does it need to be backed up by an anonymous email? Don't overthink it, okay? So you definitely can register a site with a different email. Doesn't have to be yours, or I mean, it should be yours, but that doesn't have to be your main one. But I think you're overthinking this like a lot more than you really need to. You can be basically anyone that you want, so it doesn't mean that you have to use your real name or your real email. So don't overthink that. Okay. All right. And yes, press release can provide SEO value. All right, so with that, Sean, if you see maybe a last-minute question, we can answer it. Otherwise, I can jump straight to the cash giveaway. In fact, we'll give guys maybe another, let's say, 20 seconds or so to leave a comment. Just go to getwebfire.com/FB group and leave a comment on Sean's post right there, basically asking what you thought of the training, and then we'll give $100 away. And again, we'll give you maybe 20 more seconds. Okay, and yes, we can look into. In fact, we've been looking into a feature in WebFire that we might add in the future that would help more with mobile site stuff too. So that's definitely something that we can look into with that. There's a question on that. All right, and with that, I'm going to just pause the screen as I move on over to give away some cash. All right. Just going to refresh the page real quick. All right. And here we have Sean's post right here and a bunch of comments right here. So we'll pick a random winner in a second here. Let's do a quick count. So we have oh, that's odd. It used to keep the total right at the top. All right, so we'll count the ones outside first real quick. You guys make this complicated when you post outside of it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 outside of it. And then I'll just refresh this because I think it will have the total in. 6 outside plus 43 plus 42, so 50. Oh, 52 in total. All right, so go to random.org, 52, 34, right in the middle, so I have to make it difficult. All right, so 34 was it? That's what I said? Yeah, 34, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22 is Trev. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, 32, 33, 34. So, Jocelyn Vince, if this is you or you look like that person right there and you live in Austin, Texas, and you're from France, you are $100 richer. Or I should say you will be as soon as you give your PayPal info in the chat box right there. So just do a quick post up, and Sean will mark that down, or I'll mark that down. Just make sure to type that up in the chat box. So again, congratulations to Jocelyn Vince right there. So you are our winner of this week, and as always, guys, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll have another call up, and next week we'll have another good one as well. And as always, if there's any topics that you want to be covered or anything like that, make sure to ask us or mention it to our support, and we'll make sure to try to essentially tailor these calls towards what you guys want. And as always, if you have any other questions or anything like that, make sure to use the help desk inside of Webfire. Or if you have any issues outside of that, you can also write support@webfire.com. But try to use the help desk if you can, just because that assures that there's never like a spam email issue or anything like that. But if not, it's fine to just write support@webfire.com. They'll always get back to you in 1 business day or less, usually really fast, within like an hour or two, provided it's not like 3 in the morning or anything like that. And with that, Sean, are there any last-minute questions or anything that you see or want to address real quick?
Hey, I see Jocelyn's from France. I just want to know if she's coming to London. That's all.
All right.
that's my only question. Okay, and I got your email and your PayPal email, Jocelyn. So when Sharon is back in the office, I will get her to send you money. So we get that handled. Since if I do it, it's likely to go to someone else, because you never want to get me near anything administrative. All right, everybody. Awesome. Glad you guys are all loving training today. And again, we'll see you next week and see what's happening, everybody. So thanks. Go take action. We'll see you.